Alright guys, we've got some pretty massive stuff to get into today, and a lot can change over the next few coming weeks. But of course, we're gonna jump into a release recap and figure out who got the L's and the W's over here. Let's start off with definitely the biggest release, and of course that was the Jordan 1 High 85 black and white. I'm pretty sure, as expected, these things were limited and they were hard to cop, so if you managed to get a W on this pair of sneakers, it's a solid pair of sneakers, pretty much a timeless Jordan 1 that I think is a big W if you manage to get it for retail. Out in the US, I believe the Laney's dropped. This is the Jordan 1 High women's release. I actually didn't know that this was only in women's sizing, but apparently it is. Here in the EU and the UK, these haven't released. They're going to be dropping on the 24th of February. That's this upcoming Friday. And then, of course, the Mischief Big Red Boot. These things dropped, and I believe it was a pre-order or something because it takes like 8 weeks to ship out to you if you did get them when they drop. Personally, I passed. I don't really have any use for this pair of shoes. Either way, let me know if you went for them, if you did manage to cop. I'm not entirely sure if they were like super limited or anything. Finally, the Playoff 13s drop. This drop happened yesterday, and I think they're still sitting at least here in the EU and the UK, but let me know if you did go for them. Moving over to a highly anticipated release, the Maniere Jordan 12. These things are going to be dropping on February the 24th. And we've got official images of both the white colorway and then the black colorway. Now, I believe they did some kind of smaller in-store release through Maniere, but that is always US exclusive. I'm not entirely sure how limited these things are going to be like, but obviously compared to 4s or 3s, they're not going to be as popular as those sneakers. I like both of the colorways. I'm not entirely sure which one I prefer at this point. Maybe the black colorway, but they're both super clean. All right, we got some brand new looks at one of this year's most anticipated sneaker releases, and of course that is the Jordan 4 Thunder. They're looking super clean. I think we're getting them in a full family size run because you can see that this is like a men's pair, and then I assume this is a GS pair, but as you can see, it is made true to the original. Again, the drop date is May the 13th. All right, let's talk about Adidas for a minute. There's quite a few things going on over at the Adidas camp. Let's start off with the Yeezy news. I don't even know where this rumor started or how much credibility it has. So the rumor is that Adidas is making Kanye West a new offer. Literally last week we spoke about how Adidas came out with a statement saying that they have so much Yeezy inventory they don't know what to do with it, and they're looking to lose billions of dollars. Based on that information of Adidas coming out and saying, listen, we're in a really tough spot. We don't know if we can sell these Yeezys, but also what else can we do with them? Can we destroy 500 million euros in Yeezy product? They're literally backed into a corner, and whatever decision Adidas makes about all of this Yeezy inventory is not really an ideal decision. These rumors of Adidas bringing Kanye West back to work on the Yeezy products is definitely a rumor. From what I can tell, there's not too many credible sources that are actually stating this as a fact. But at the same time, Adidas's situation with these Yeezy products and how it's affecting the entire company is definitely a dire one. Like, they need to make a decision and they need to do something pretty quickly. Whatever it ends up being, whether they do try and get Kanye West back, or whether they end up selling these Yeezy products, or whether they destroy the Yeezy product, again, it is still all in discussion and they haven't made any final decisions just yet. I think whatever we see happening in the next few weeks from Adidas is going to be very telling how the rest of the year pans out for them. Now, an Adidas sneaker that I actually think looks pretty interesting is this one right here. This is the first look at the Adidas Crazy Infinity. So this is going to be kind of an evolution of the original Adidas Kobe, and they're kind of evolving this into a slightly more futuristic version while still keeping that Kobe DNA in there. So as you can see, they removed the laces and they've gone for this zip-up shroud, or there might still be laces, but it's underneath the shroud. We can't really tell from these images. It almost looks like a rubber or EVA mold around the pair of shoes. I can't say that this thing looks terrible. I don't think it's the best looking sneaker I've ever seen, but I can't say that it looks terrible by any means. And again, we don't have any specific release date, just at some point this year. Now, something that I really didn't expect was another Bad Bunny and Adidas forum. They literally named the last colorway of the Adidas forum as the last colorway, as in they're not doing the forum anymore. So it says Bad Bunny celebrates Puerto Rican hoops with Canguejeros forum collaboration. Now, I probably butchered that name, but essentially it's going to be some kind of almost like a triple collaboration with a lot of different colors on it. I don't think that this colorway is bad whatsoever, and actually it's a little bit of a change up from the monochromatic ones that we've seen in the past. Now, in terms of release date, these should be dropping in 2023. All right, moving on from Adidas back to Jordan Brand, we've got some new looks at the fresh summertime pair of 11s. This right here is the Jordan 11 Low Cement Gray. These are going to be dropping on April the 1st. These are looking clean for sure. I mean, you mix some iced out outsole action with the white upper and that patent gray leather, and I think altogether, I mean, it's a banger up for the summertime. And the GS pairs get the embroidered Jumpman in this blue color, which I think looks really nice as well. The adults obviously don't. All right, here's a pair of Force that I wanted to show you guys because I thought it's a very interesting looking pair. However, I will say straight out the gate, these are not going to be releasing. So take a look at this here. This is the Nick Cannon Wild 'N Out Air Jordan 4 PE. So as I said, this is a PE. This is never going to get a public release, or at least as of right now, or this specific pair is not going to get a public release. Now the upper seems to have a mix of like tumbled leather, but then around this panel here, it almost looks like crocodile leather. Anyway, this looks to be a brand new pair. I can't imagine very many of these things were ever made, but it's definitely an interesting pair to take a look at. Let me know what you guys think of this, but let's keep it moving to some sneakers that are actually releasing. All right, speaking of a sneaker that should be dropping pretty soon, or finally, is the Ja Morant signature sneaker, the Ja 1. Now, these are official images. I believe the first or original colorway of the Ja 1 is going to be dropping at some point in April, but this colorway doesn't have a specific release date just yet. But we've also got another colorway of the Ja 1, this one right here. This one's a little bit more elevated. This is also official images, and apparently this one's gonna retail for $400, and it's called the Midnight colorway. This one has jewel encrusted details, like the Nike swoosh is just covered in jewels, and then so is this kind of pendant that's placed on the laces. This one also doesn't have a specific release date, but again, I think the official launch for the original pair is gonna be at some point in April, so expect a lot of these colorways to follow after that. All right, let's talk about dunks real quick. We've got some very clean colorways in the pipeline, along with some interesting ones, I'll put it that way. Starting off with this one right here, which I do think is pretty clean. This is the Nike Dunk Low needlework. Now, for starters, take a look at the laces. That is definitely a big difference from standard flat laces. It looks pretty cool. It's definitely a change up. Overall, this colorway looks very, very similar to the Gray Fog or Photon Dust colorway, but it's just a little bit more, I guess, dialed down, a little bit more subtle, and a lot more vintage aspects to it. And you've also got some different perforation holes from the standard. These are going to be dropping at some point here in 2023. A pair of dunks that is right around the corner also has a different take to it. Take a look at this here. This is the Nike Dunk Low Just Do It in the Team Red colorway. This one's interesting because not only have they changed the material, but they've also added some extra pieces to it. Mainly and most obviously is this huge debris that is on the bottom of the sneaker. The leather is different. I can't even really tell what type of leather this is, or just some kind of print that's embossed into the top. The release date is right around the corner, February the 23rd, so if you want these things, they should be dropping very soon. All right, last dunk is this one right here, the Nike Dunk Low Sand Drift. This one is covered in all over suede, although the base material looks to be leather. It's a very, very nice colorway, and it also has this contrast stitching, which I think is pretty cool. Now, these are going to be dropping March the 1st, and again, these are the official images, so look forward to release relatively soon on these. All right, we got another Sean Wotherspoon and Adidas collaboration in the pipeline. This one seems to be received pretty well by people. Take a look at this. This is the Sean Wotherspoon and Adidas Gazelle Hemp. So hemp, I assume, is for the material used, or at least to some degree the material, although it could just be the color of this. I think a lot of Sean Wotherspoon's previous sneakers with Adidas have kind of been a little bit hit or miss. The material used seems to be very, very interesting, like it could feel really nice in hand. In terms of release date, these are the first looks, so these should be dropping at some point here in 2023, although we don't have a specific release date. So something that you've undoubtedly been hearing for the past couple years is all about New Balance's success. And we actually have a figure to put that to. This article says New Balance sales are up 115% year over year. These figures are from the aftermarket platform GOAT, which is very telling because if a sneaker can resell on a platform, it definitely means that there's a lot of eyeballs on it and it's obviously very popular. This year is a pretty good opportunity for them to do something really big. I think there's a big gap in the market, like Yeezys are gone now. People are kind of getting fatigued of a bunch of Jordans and Nike sneakers just oversaturating the market. And I think New Balance has an opportunity to really come up with some really compelling sneakers here in 2023. Now, obviously, we haven't seen too much this year. Now, something that New Balance does have in the pipeline is this right here. This is the Action Bronson New Balance 990 V6, which has been leaked and rumored for a while. Can they make success of this 990 V6? And this colorway is definitely wild, and even a collaboration with Action Bronson seems pretty left field, if you ask me. I do think New Balance will find success in doing some different things and experimenting with different collaborators and ideas. I think that could definitely help them. These are going to be dropping at some point here in 2023. We don't have a specific release date, just at some point. What is going on with Air Force One collaborations recently? So take a look at this upcoming one. This is the Air Force One, or the Sushi Force One. Yeah, this is the stamped Nobu Nike Sushi Force One, and these should be dropping at some point, I believe, this year. These are going to retail at a whopping $195, and from what I can tell, there's really not much going on here. Like, they literally just stamped the back. It looks like it's regular all-white Air Force One leather quality. I've seen so many Air Force One collaborations where like the collaborator just wants to be like, yeah, just put out an all-white Air Force One with my logo, and that's pretty much it. Similar to the Drake ones, people were kind of disappointed in that pair of sneakers. At least the leather quality was elevated, so if you wanted like a better quality Drake affiliated Air Force One, it wasn't a bad option. They're only going to be dropping at sushiclub.com. I think they're going to be fairly limited, so I wouldn't expect like a huge Nike sneakers release for these things either. Nike's got the need for speed, pumping out the latest Nike Vaporfly 3, which is going to be dropping on March the 6th. Recently, I took a look at Nike's brand new Invincible Run 3, which is a phenomenal pair of sneakers, literally the most comfortable that I've ever tried out. Just that ZoomX cushioning is just next level. Now, this one obviously is a lot more targeted towards like actual performance running. I haven't tried out the previous version of the Vaporfly either. But this one definitely looks light, it looks comfy, and it looks ready to be ran in. Nike's got a brand new twist for their Air Max 1 sneaker, and that is pretty much not making it a sneaker anymore. Take a look at this here. This is the Air Max 1 Slide. Apparently this Air Max 1 Slide is going to be dropping for Air Max Day 2023. In fact, our next story is also going to be on Air Max Day, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, so far we've seen two different colorways, this red one and then this black one right here. Now, usually on Air Max Day, Nike drops an all-new Air Max silhouette. And this year in 2023, we're going to be getting this one right here. This looks to be like Nike's new flagship Air Max model, and I gotta say, I can definitely see these things being popular. This one obviously takes like a lot of design cues from the Air Max 270. I do really like these split materials that are kind of just separating the lower half of the shoe to the upper half. But yeah, like I said, these are dropping Air Max Day, March the 26th. We also just got first looks at the other pair of sneakers dropping on Air Max Day, and that is the 2023 Nike Air Max 1 Big Bubble. As you can see, this box comes all scratched up and kind of aged out, similar to, I guess, some of the reimagined stuff that Nike has been doing recently. And I believe it's going to be dropping in just this colorway, the original red one. So a good few different silhouettes that we're getting for Air Max Day. Whether we have some surprises, I'm not entirely sure. All right, we got some more Jordan 1s coming through. Let's start off with one that's right around the corner. This one here, the Air Jordan 1 Elephant Print or White Cement. These are the official images, and they are loaded up at most different places, at least here in the EU and the UK. They're up on Nike Sneakers. There's a bunch of different raffles that you can enter because these are going to be dropping on February the 25th. Like, I'm not entirely sure if it's my favorite colorway ever put on a shoe. I think it has people in quite an undecided space where they're like, some people hate it, some people love it. Again, judging the current Jordan 1 hype at the moment, I don't think it's going to be too hard to get your hands on this pair of ones. But a pair of Jordan 1s that is going to be hard to get, which I think is going to take over here in 2023. This is your first looks at the Air Jordan 1 High OG UNC toe. And I have been waiting for the first images of this pair of sneakers, and let me show you guys. This is it in hand. Looking good, man. Looking really, really good. I am so happy. It looks exactly like the renders. It's got that really nice deep UNC blue color. Handling is perfect. The leather quality doesn't look that bad either, at least from this image. It kind of looks like it's going to be the same as the taxis, which I liked. It's looking clean. It's looking like probably one of the best Jordan 1s that we're going to be getting here in 2023. I know that there's going to be the reimagined Royals and a couple different ones that we don't even know about just yet, but as of right now, this for me personally is, yeah, it's a must call. In terms of release date, I will just quickly remind you guys, these are going to be dropping July the 8th, so not even that far away. All right, final Jordan 1 we're going to take a look at is very, very interesting. So this one right here, this is the Teyana Taylor, who's going to be getting a collaboration with a pair of ones. They went all out on this one. It is absolutely wild. This is a Jordan 1 High Zoom CMFT, and it's called A Rose from Harlem. Really see that rose inspiration over here from all of like the spikes coming off of the Nike swoosh. On the other side, you've got a huge enlarged or just super long Nike swoosh that even extends onto the midsole. Definitely different and very, very interesting, but yeah, these should be dropping at some point this year. There's a lot of detail. Next up, a story that I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard about. It is definitely a big one. Pharrell Williams has been officially named the next head of men's fashion at Louis Vuitton. So obviously, he's going to be taking the place of Virgil Abloh, which is very interesting because obviously we know Virgil Abloh's time at Louis Vuitton. There was a lot of pass-through of Louis Vuitton stuff into Nike stuff. So obviously, Virgil Abloh was a collaborator with Nike. So Pharrell Williams being a collaborator with Adidas, now being the head of men's fashion at Louis Vuitton, will we start seeing some Adidas crossover with LV? But yeah, it could be interesting to see what Pharrell Williams can bring to the table, something a little bit different, something interesting, maybe something with Adidas. Aimé Leon Dore and New Balance are continuing their partnership with an upcoming collection, which Teddy Santis teased. So these are the sneakers right here. This is the ALD New Balance 8060 V2 collection. So we've got a red pair, we've got a blue pair, and a green pair. Literally, this is the only image that we have, so really not much to go off of, but we can imagine that these should be dropping at some point here in 2023, although a specific month is unknown. Nike is going to be paying homage to Gigi Bryant with this Nike Kobe 4 Protro. Take a look at this one, guys. This should be dropping at some point this year. Again, we know that Nike has some big plans for the Kobe line this year with a lot of different sneakers coming back, and this is just one of the latest ones that we've seen pop up. So yeah, this one's going to be honoring Gigi, Kobe Bryant's daughter, and it looks pretty clean, and it's got the Gigi text on the back. Not entirely sure when these are going to be dropping, but it's definitely going to be a special release for Kobe fans. Hopefully they do the release in a decent way. Final story for today. This one is pretty wild. I don't know what's going on in Memphis, but it has been ransacked. So take a look at this here. Literally just shoving boxes of stuff into a truck. It's really hard to make out what's going on in this video. The people in the yellow jackets are the workers at the Memphis Nike facility, and these people with their masks on and hoods up are the ones that are just stealing the stuff. This is extra crazy because recently the Nike Memphis facility was also targeted for a bunch of stuff that was stolen. It was around the time where the Midnight Navy Jordan 4s and the Cherry 11s dropped, where we saw like a bunch of those early sneakers getting surfaced online. And essentially a lot of those early pairs were from the Nike Memphis facility where people had stolen, I think it was almost $1 million in product. But yeah, as of right now, we don't know the extent of how much they stole, if they got caught, if they even made it out of there. But this video is definitely alarming. Either way, guys, that's a wrap for the news. If you want to catch up on last week's sneaker releases, that video's over there.